MSNBC.
Trump campaign continued to scramble after the fallout from those private comments he made about sexual assault in 2005. What is the next move and how are Republicans reacting? We have a big panel to get through on it. Democratic strategist Fernand Amandi, former deputy campaign manager for Carly Fiorina, Sarah Isgur Flores, politics editor at The Root, Jason Johnson, and former Republican Congresswoman of New York, Nan Hayworth, is here with me in studio. Congresswoman, I'll start with you. You have said you are voting for Donald Trump.
Well, I've heretofore,
will you still vote for Donald Trump?
Well, I will vote for the Republican nominee because
he is the Republican nominee.
And assuming that he remains the nominee, I think. Look, I'm going to hold my my thoughts until I see how Mr. Trump does in the next month. I think that's all I can do at this point. He has
well, sure.
an opportunity.
Anything can make people change their minds again. But
right.
you endorse Donald Trump. You're publicly backing him as a Republican. Does anything that you've seen on this video give you pause?
It makes me angry that this is the kind of language that he used, of course, a number of years ago. I think the way he phrased the portion of his apology that said he has learned and he has grown was the right way to approach it in that sense.
But you don't see this language coupled with other things in the public record about Donald Trump. You don't see it as disqualifying.
I think we have two major party candidates, both of whom have conducted their lives and their activities in ways that those of us who want to see a particular platform go forward would consider to be far less than perfect.
Let me bring in Sarah as another Republican on the panel. What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think Donald Trump can win at this point, which is why so many Republicans are coming forward and asking him to step aside so that someone can be brought in with a chance of winning against Hillary Clinton. If the goal of the Republican Party, if the goal of conservatives across the country is to have a conservative in the White House and to ensure that Hillary Clinton is not president of the United States, Donald Trump has shown he can no longer accomplish that. So at this point, I think it needs to be goal-oriented, and the goal has to be winning. Donald Trump cannot win at this point.
Sarah, are you suggesting that some of the outcry from Republicans now is not because they're personally, morally offended, but because they just think he's losing?
Oh, no, sorry. It's absolutely because of this video, because it is offensive. Because of this video, he cannot win against Hillary Clinton.
We
need to have someone in that place who can.
Because, Jason, there's also the...
Absolutely. This is offensive.
Jason, there's also the view that he was behind going into this, that a lot of folks were trying to figure out in the Republican Party, what do they do the day after the election if he loses badly? And for some of them, it might be in their political interest to get ahead of that now.
Yeah, I mean, it's political cowardice. This is not new. Donald Trump has been saying things like this for years. He's been saying things like this during the campaign. He has been accused of sexual assault. He's been accused of spousal rape. This is not new. Everyone who is claiming that they want to distance themselves from him now, they're only doing it because they think he's going to lose. And I think that this is a problem at the moral center of the Republican Party. Look, Donald Trump represents the majority of primary voters. He has every right to be the nominee. But as a party, you have to look at what is happening at the core of your base. That a man who has these kinds of values is representative of the base of your party, and why so many people were able to overlook his racism, his bigotry, his homophobia, all these other things, and only now have a problem because they think he's going to lose.
Fernand, take a listen, though, to the other side of the story, the Trump side of the story, which started with a non-apology, I'm only sorry people are offended, but then turned late last night to this.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Fernand?
Ari, Trump is Trump. I think Trump is the most irrelevant person in this conversation now. And I think the real question is for those Republicans who are coming out today with this mock outrage, oh my God, we got to drop Donald Trump. Pardon my cynicism, but I think if he were up 10 points in the polls and not deteriorating as he has been after that first debate, I think they'd be singing a different tune. The question, Ari, is why now? Why now for these Republican leaders who've seen what this man has been saying and doing and thinking for the last year and a half? Why now, Ari? That's the question. They can't answer it, and they won't answer it. And you know why? Because they don't want to be branded with the scarlet letter TR, which is Trump Republicans. Some decisions in life are disqualifying, and Republicans who evaluated Donald Trump and said he has my support and endorsement before last night and he's fit to be president should be disqualified from serving the American public.
Nan, you're shaking your head.
Well, Ari, when Mr. Trump was running in the primary, and of course I was supporting Carly Fiorina at that point through the Republican primary process. But when Mr. Trump was running, he was running because he was articulating the discontent and indeed the distress of millions and millions of Americans who've been left behind by the economy over the past 8 years of really ill-advised, unwise fiscal policies. Taxes that are too high, regulations that are crushing businesses. And that's the reason they voted for him, because he represented some sort of economic hope for them. They weren't thinking about these other issues.
You're putting forward a theory as if it's a fact. I mean, Jason, there is a theory that he tapped into economic anxiety, which is a big issue.
He certainly did.
That is a theory. There is also a theory that he tapped into racial resentment, that he tapped into opinions on women that are retrograde, that are the issue today. Jason, there's a lot of different animating principles that one could test that drove Donald Trump's victory in a plurality of the Republican primary.
Exactly. I mean, look, if you wanted somebody to speak for working class voters, you could have voted for John Kasich. You could have voted for Rick Santorum. You could have voted for tons of other candidates who spoke to the economic difficulties that Americans are experiencing every day. But not one of the other Republicans made such explicit overtures and tacit overtures to terrorist organizations like the Klan, to offering policies to build walls. The Klan is a terrorist organization. Those are the things that Donald Trump did.
That's the reason.
No, that's not the reason.
Let me bring that
is part of his popularity.
Let me bring in Sarah as well on the politics of this, Sarah, because Politico reporting that what people are speculating on about the RNC pulling the plug is already happening in dribs and drabs. RNC has an email to one of the vendors they work with to print Trump campaign material today, and the report says that the email from RNC leadership says hold on all projects, put a hold on the mail production for things involving Trump. What do you make of that, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, I'm not actually sure if that's accurate. Some things were put on hold, I know, a couple days ago for unrelated reasons, so I don't know if that email is true now. However, regardless, there is going to be pressure on the RNC to try to save some of these down-ballot candidates and really focus on the Senate with this ground game, focus on the House. We have a lot of great members out there running. That being said, I do think this is some faux outrage from the liberals on this panel. They would be saying this if it were Mitt Romney running right now in October against Hillary Clinton, for sure. So this idea that Hillary Clinton has somehow put Donald Trump away up to this point, she hadn't, because she couldn't, because so few people trust Hillary Clinton moving forward. The Democrats have a huge problem in their base. The media holds a lot of responsibility for creating Donald Trump, the $2 billion in earned media that he got. And I think that the Democrats also need to have some inward-looking focus on what's going on in their party and what's going on with their candidate.
We're out of time. Fernand, a brief response.
We'll have 4 years to look inwardly after Hillary Clinton is elected President of the United States on November 8th.
4 more years of the same misery.
That debate will continue because the voters will have the last word. Fernand, Sarah, Jason, and Nan here, thank you very much for joining me on A Hot Topic. More live coverage.